Oh man, this is doing numbers. Yeah, I know, this channel isn't popular or anything, and this video isn't super popular either, but for me, this is the most successful a video has been in like 2 years or something, and I made it on painkillers. Of course, ignoring that Fear and Hunger video I also made when I was under the influence of painkillers and stomach cramps. I'm beginning to see a pattern here. Anyway, this means that if you want to, you can get to hear even more about my ramblings about sounds of Silent Hill. Background static is something you usually sort of block out automatically, so I thought it might be an interesting topic for this series. And if there's anything we can all agree on about Silent Hill, it's that Silent Hill likes fog. Yeah, there is darkness too that blocks out your vision, but the main thing that comes to your mind if you think Silent Hill is just fog. Fog, occasionally some rust, blood, guts and darkness, and more fog. So much so that people who have played Silent Hill legitimately cannot think of anything else on a foggy day. What started off as a way for the PS1 to be able to hide the render distance has turned into one of the main images of Silent Hill. I feel like the image of fog is just very alluring to a lot of people. And it extends beyond the visual realm too, which is why it's perfect for the series. Fog is a mysterious thing. Looking down a misty street or driving down a foggy road has a sort of dangerous feeling to it. Of course, there's the obvious visual impairment where you gotta pay attention to not run into another car, but it also plays with your imagination. What was that shadow you just saw just beyond your field of vision? And by its nature, fog is all-enveloping. Depending on its thickness, it kills your visual senses and leaves you sort of isolated. Fog reminds me a little bit of snow. Snow slows everything down and numbs your senses of hearing. And snow is coincidentally the only other weather phenomenon that is very, very abundant in Silent Hill. Personally, I feel like there must be some sort of pattern here. Everything in Silent Hill is meant to numb the senses, and looking at Silent Hill 2 in particular, it makes a lot of sense story-wise too. It all complements the imagery just perfectly. And you know what else people use to purposefully kill their senses? White noise. Hell, there's even a track named White Noise that was made by Akira Yamaoka for Silent Hill 2. All white noise really is a flat line of frequencies, and by that I mean it's essentially just the color white if it was a sound. Just as white is all colors mixed together, white noise is all frequencies together on the same volume. Hence the name, white noise. And you can even try this for yourself. Download any white noise sound from somewhere or just use something like Audacity to generate white noise and take a look at the audio levels and the spectrogram. It's all perfectly level. This means that as long as it has a certain volume, it can cancel out a lot of other noise around you. Because all other noise also has frequencies that cannot get over this white wall of noise you built for yourself. It's a constant sound that can mask the rest of the more unconstant sounds around you. And this makes for a pretty good way to sleep if you're easily disturbed by noises. White noise is the perfect audio equivalent to fog. It is essentially fog for your ears. There's also a technique in audio engineering we have, and this method is used to cross-synthesize sounds called convolution. What it is essentially fusing two sounds together using the frequencies of the second one we call impulse response. The way this fusing works is that the original sound gets its own frequencies boosted for the frequencies it shares with the impulse response and lowered for the ones it doesn't share. This is usually used for reverb or delay or something, but if we use white noise as an impulse response, we sort of level the original sound, and this ends up having this blurring effect on it. You and me, we both know Silent Hill drenches its sounds in reverb, and I'm almost certain that this method must have also been used in the games in order to further this feeling of numb isolation. There are also different colored noise. The most common ones are white noise, pink noise, and brown noise. Pink noise decreases the gain of the frequencies the higher they get. I've seen it called bass-boosted white noise before. And this makes for an almost distant rain kind of sound. But brown noise has always been the one that I've personally liked the most. It boosts the lower frequencies even more than pink noise, and I do like my lower frequencies. Listening to brown noise, I can't help but be reminded of the rusty side of Silent Hill, or more specifically, the entirety of Silent Hill 3. It almost sort of feels like this noise is everywhere in that game, always present as a low, humming growl. Almost like something is watching you. It fits very well. It almost feels like it's a deteriorated version of white noise, much how the other world is a deteriorated version of the real, foggy world. And even the colors work together, brown or red, and white, just like the noises that I think they represent. A YouTuber I used to love to watch called Jordan Underneath once said this about the colors in Silent Hill. In fact, each Silent Hill game makes me actually think of like a different color, if that makes any sense. Like the first game's color is all white, black and white. It's always shifting between black and white for one thing. The second game's color is probably gray, complex shades of gray. But the third game's color is red. And I could never forget that quote every time people talk about color in Silent Hill. It's a perfect quote, and the more I think of it, I feel that it cannot have been a coincidence by Team Silent that people feel that way. The noises and the colors in those games resonate to become this perfect piece of atmosphere. Fog doesn't really have a color. The reason we cannot see anything in fog is because the individual fog particles reflect the light, but I think Jordan said this not only about the way everything is visually colored, but also about the characters and the plot of the game. And I feel the same way as Jordan, and personally I feel like it extends to the noise area of the game. They are carefully picked for each individual soundtrack or ambient noise of the game. There are even times in Silent Hill 3 we are suddenly left in complete silence. And I think this is really cool because now, due to the sudden absence of any other sound, now the blood in your own ears is making the brown noise effect. Honestly, to me, it feels like white noise is everywhere in Silent Hill. So much so that even one of the Silent Hill 2 tracks got its name from them. Yeah, I know, I mentioned that before. It doesn't matter if it's the pure white noise, brown noise, pink noise, or any other colored noise for that matter, or maybe it's even just the remnants of those noises by the method of convolution. White noise seems to just be everywhere in this game, dulling your senses. Perfectly fits with this feeling of depressive numbness of Silent Hill.